Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Judd with Southmen Bushcraft. Today I wanted to touch on what constitutes as a woods knife or a bushcraft knife, if you will. There's a bunch of people out there that have different opinions on what a knife should and shouldn't do. I mean, the hiker community, they have their their lightweight stuff, and they don't carry a lot. They just carry the essentials. Most of the hiking communities, they try to go as lightweight as possible, and very few that I've read actually carry a knife. Most of them, might carry some form of personal protection, but most of the stuff they're carrying is food and shelter, and water. And because they're hiking down this trail, it's a well-known trail. But in my opinion, to know, and they got, whoa, that was another thing too. If they got food, most of the time they got them little burners, little alcohol stoves, something to cook their food on. But in my opinion, it's good for them to even know the essentials of making a wood fire. What if you run out of fuel? What if you got lost? What if there's all these what ifs? And when you're in the wilderness, and especially hiking the trails, I mean, if you get turned around, get lost, and you get away from everybody, your resources are gonna, if you're not rescued pretty quick, then your resources are gonna go pretty fast. Because then you start into the panic mode. What am I going to do? And the best thing to do is stay in one place, regardless, and find some way for signaling. And after a day or two, if you can't, calm down and get your bearings of where you're at, where you came from, and try to make it back that way to something that looks familiar to you, or an open area where you can signal for rescue. But if you keep wandering around, they're not going to find you. So that's where it's good to stop, calm down, sit down, relax, as much as you can, because you're lost. But the bushcraft and the woodcraft community, they do more of the crafting of stuff at camps. Making traps, cutting notches, batoning wood, firecraft, processing wood, processing game to cooking over a fire. Very few bushcraft, woodcraft, outdoorsman type thing. They don't carry too many amenities with them except for something to cook. At first, so that, when you're going hunting or trapping or whatever, hopefully you'll get to catch something. But everything's pretty primitive. From a big lighter to start a fire, that's modern amenities. But ferro rods, that's a good thing to have. But there's a lot that go out there with, like the flint and steel. They like to do bow drills, hand drills, more primitive stuff, fire saws, any kind of friction fires. But what they're doing is they're honing their skills. They're not out there in a survival situation. They're out there doing it because they like to do it. They want to learn more about it. They want to get in touch with how it used to be, how they used to have to start fires, and a lot of the reenactors and stuff like that, the primitive woodsmen, I mean, that stuff's amazing. There's some people out there that can take a hand drill and just whoop, 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 and boom, they got fire. Me personally, not so much. I haven't gotten that one down pat. I have gotten the ember, but it took a lot of work. Bow drills, it's technique. Once you learn how to do it, you keep doing it over and over again. It's like practice makes perfect in anything you do. And that's why they do it. It's not because, hey, I can make fire out of sticks. Hey, I'm better than you. No, it's nothing like that. it's because they love doing what they're doing, and they love to teach other people what they're doing. And for me, I'm going to do, I done started rambling again, so I hope y'all are still with me. But I'm going to show some knives. And as everybody knows, I'm a knife nut. And there's different styles that people like. And from lightweight, inexpensive, it depends on what your budget is. If you're just starting out, I got a perfect thing for you to start out with. If you want to save up your money, you know, get something a little better, I can show you something there too. But it all boils down to your skill set. Always practice, 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 practice. And even if it's in your backyard, you know, like I'm doing this video right here, you know, I couldn't go out because it looks like it's going to rain, for one thing, and it's not looking too pretty, so I better hurry this up. And I was going to go out in the woods and do this video, but that didn't happen. So let me start out with the Mora. This is the Mora HD. I actually sharpened the spine on it. So you get this ferro rod. These are what those, you can get them from, I can't remember how much they were, anywhere from $5 to what, $8, $9, $10, something along in there. But anyway, it's a good ferro rod to stick in your pocket. But what the Moras, the new ones, I'm not sure because I hadn't bought one in a long time. But I think the new ones, the spine were rounded on the old ones. So I put this one on my belt sander. And what I did was I just created a 90-degree spine. So, and it works perfect for that. But the Moras are real sharp. The only drawback with the Mora is it's got a rat tail tang that runs through the middle of your handle. So when you're batoning with it, don't get stuff that's too big for your knife. I can't stress that enough. If you're not, if like say this knife right here, from finger to finger should be the width of all you're cutting with this knife if you're batoning, because you have to hit it out here. You don't want to hit it here, because a lot of times what happens was when people break these, they'll break that tang that's in there, and the reason being is you're trying to do too much with it, to beating it. You shouldn't have to fram and beat like crazy on your knife. It's just not made to hammer on like that. But you can baton with these, and the best thing to do is when you get it stuck in there, if you can find a piece of wood, make you a wedge. If something happens and it goes in the wood and it gets crooked like that and you can't beat it to where it goes, don't beat over here, because that's what breaks them, because they're in a bind here. You're holding your blade and you're hitting this tang that's only like that thick. That's why they break. But other than that, if you use the knife like you're supposed to, you wouldn't have no problem with this knife, because this is a great knife. And for the price of under $15, if you're just starting out, you can, these knives, you can make curls with them. And it's, I mean, these knives are perfect for that stuff. Carving bow drill divots, you know, and if you're doing notches, say you want to notch out. It's just a flat notch right here. But say you want to cut notches, you know, it does perfect. You can make traps with this. You can, I mean, anything, any kind of camp chore you want, this is it. But there is something better. And if anybody knows me, I'm a fan of battle horse knives. I'm not endorsed by them by any means. There's just my preference. You know, that's what I like. You know, you may not like, you might like something else. But anyway, this is the feather stick, and here is the Mora. See, they're similar but different. This right here is more robust. You can go to pound town on this knife. It will take a beating, because this is a full tang construction here on this. You see the whole side of the handle, that's all metal. There's no holes, and the only holes that's in this knife are the pins that's holding the handle on. This is a beast. It's a little heavier than the Mora, but as far as anything you want to do, wipe it off, can't even tell you scratched it. And just like the Moras, the sharpness of it and the thickness of the blade, see, you can make, I mean, any kind of notches. If you want to double, flip it around, use your thumb, push with it, more control. Move your stick around. Whenever you're working with a knife, always work away from yourself. See, and you can just do regular V notches there. But feather sticks, that's the name of it, called a feather stick. You ain't even got to hardly put no pressure on it. You know, you can make them as fine. You can make them as fine or as thick as you want. I don't know if you can see that, but this, as far as camp chores, this is my go-to knife. If you want to get technical as far as like in the bushcraft part, this is a Battle Horse Knives Bushcrafter, and it's also in a Scandinavian grind. These three knives that I just shown you, all three of them are Scandinavian grind, because that's what I prefer. I love Scandinavian grind knives. They can do anything with them. You can skin deer, you can cut notches, you can make traps, you can do whatever you want. But this one does the same thing too. And I like a little bit of heft in my knife, thickness wise, so if I have to do batoning or do some heavy work, I can jump right on it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about being careful. I can just go to town, make me a fire, do what I want to do. And stick some of these over here, get them out of the way. And this is the Mora Bushcraft Black. These are the ones that I started with. You can see where I've sharpened this one, and it's got quite a bit of patina on it, but I've used this one quite a few. This is the one that I started out with when I started into bushcrafting. The Mora Companion, the first one, I used it for a little while, and then I seen this and I was like, I need something a little more robust. So when I got this one, but as far as like anything you want to do is the same way with the last three that I just showed you. You know, and it's all according to, you know, technique and what you get comfortable handling. This one also has this rat tail tang in it. This is not a full tang knife, it's a rat tail tang. So the same boundaries that the first mower has, this one has also. So but it's a little thicker through here and a little thicker in the spine than the original. So this has been a good knife too. And this one, it's been so long since I bought it, but I cannot remember how much this knife was. If I'm not mistaken, it's under $50, something like that. The Battle Horse knives, feather stick. I hope I'm not saying this wrong, but I think it's around the 150 range, and it's well worth the money. But like I said earlier, it depends on what your budget is and what you plan on doing with the knife. And you can go bigger and still be into bushcraft and woodcraft, which you can process bigger wood, thicker wood. You can still do some of the small tasks with it. Even though the knife's a little bigger, it's up with a 5-inch to 6-inch blade. Most EDC blades is usually around 4-inch, 4.5-inch blades. Bushcraft community, everybody likes around a 5-inch blade, because that way you can process wood up to 4 inches around, and you can process thicker stuff. So on a budget for $12, well, that wind's really kicking it now. I hope y'all can hear me. But on a budget for $12, see, I made this sheet last night, is sorry, I almost lost the camera. The wind was blowing so hard. But is the old hickory butcher knife. This is a good knife for $12 shipped. So I'm gonna cut that short. I'll finish this up later, and before the storm hits me. And I hope y'all enjoy what you've seen so far. But I got 3 more knives to show you, and I'll do that at another time, because I'm fixing to get caught in the storm, and it's getting dark and out here, and the wind picked up all of a sudden. So hang on, I might be able to finish real quick. Anyway, the butcher knife, $12. You can do what you want, but you can still notch and everything with it too, and it does great. You can feather stick with it. Let's see, shave all these off. You can feather stick with it. Get all your curls in there. You can actually baton or make tent stakes. So you can shorten the point. You can make tent stakes with it. But it's 1095 high carbon steel, so it strikes a ferro rod, $12, and it's a big knife. You can baton these, but once again, it's really thin, so you have to use your judgment and not do something that's too big. Now this one is the Mora Bushcraft Black Pathfinder Edition, and it's bigger. I think it's got like a 6-inch blade. But once again, Scandi grind. You can do whatever you want. I'm sorry, I'm trying to hurry here, but I'm trying to beat the weather. Because I hope you can hear me, because the wind's still blowing. But feather sticking, you can do whatever you want. And I batoned this knife, and it does real good. And you can get stuff up to that thick, you know, which is what, 3-4 inches. So that's another good knife. And I think this one was around $70. And last, but definitely not least, is my favorite. This is my rig. carry when I'm going for more than one day. I have the 1/2-inch ferro rod on it. I have a lighter. I have an extra ferro rod under here. In here, I think I've shown this before, but in here I have my flint and steel kit with a Battle Horse knives. I think this one's called a Little Foot, which is similar to the Little Jute, but it's still a Battle Horse knives. But it's always good to have extra knives on you. But I have char cloth, my flint, some little infernos in there, extra char cloth. I'll put that in there in a second. But oh, and this one has the Jeff White spear point in the back, just in case, you never know. This is my PLSK1. You can tell it's had a lot of work. All of a sudden too, but I do everything with this knife: toning, camp chores, food process, everything with this knife, and it'll do anything that any of the other knives will do. The only difference is this one is a beast. I have some more that I'm going to show later, but I haven't got them back yet. They're having Kydex sheaths made for them. But I love this knife. This is the Battle Horse Knives PLSK1/H1, what they call them now. So as far as like knives are considered, it all depends on what your budget is and what you're going to do with them. So I'm going to sign out. So this is Judd with Southmen Bushcraft, and next time you're in the woods,